Hello and welcome to Bedfriend's YouTube channel. My name is Mo and this is Mr. E. And the name of the show is the Diski Preview Show. We've been doing this for quite some time. Maybe we should go back to the first episode to see the difference. Have a little bit of a time lapse.
Yeah, definitely.
But welcome to the show. We've got a lot to discuss. Obviously, right now, the Premier League fixtures have just been announced today. In fact, if you're watching this in any time in the future, they were released on the 15th of June 2023, which means that we now know what's going to be happening with the Premier League season 23-24. But we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss obviously what's coming up over the weekend. International football is the focus, and luckily for us it comes right after the Premier League and the club season, so we're not going to take a long break before we see football again. So for those of you wondering which international games are the best games to watch, which international games are the best games to place your bets on, you are at the right place. Just stay tuned and enjoy. Right, so we start our conversation with a little bit of a visit to South African football. In fact, when I say that, I don't mean club football, I mean Bafana. They play Morocco, Mr. E.
Yeah.
You don't look very excited about this one.
Yeah. Bafana is playing. It's Bafana, but which World Cup was that, by the way?
Which are the...
Yeah. Bafana is going head to head with Morocco over the weekend. Yeah, but it's only a mathematical game because both teams have already qualified. So we wait to see how things are going to be. How Bafana is going to fare against the semi-finalists of the World Cup.
But Mr. E, we have to be honest with ourselves. I mean, as South African football fans, and obviously, when I say that, I say this with the utmost respect to everyone involved in South African football. We're facing Morocco, who went to the semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup just now in December, which is less than 8 months ago.
Just recently.
How good is our chance in this game? Because we have to be honest to ourselves.
Yeah, we stand to say that because I think this is going to be a test or an acid test for Bafana to see how they've developed under the Hugo Bros of late. Remember, there's been criticism on his qualities as a national team coach. So we wait to see how he's gonna set up his show up when he comes against a Morocco side that's oozing with confidence. And they've played very well in the past World Cup, and they're one of the big teams in the African giants in Africa. So we wait to see what's gonna happen over the weekend there.
My leader, we also need to focus on the coach a little bit. Hugo Bros has been given credit by many journalists out there saying that he's improved South African football. He's given us stability, he's given us a style of play, he's given us a little bit of a direction in terms of fans and also pundits and journalists alike having confidence in him as a coach. But do you think that our confidence is that of someone who can repeat what Clive Barker did? Obviously, Clive Barker passed away not so long ago, so
may his
soul rest in peace and condolences to his family. But do you think that Hugo Bros can redo what Clive Barker did all those years ago?
I don't really think so. I think I've seen Bafana playing well. They've got a very good style of play, but when we look at the Clive Barker era, by the way, he's the only person who's got he's the only coach who's got silverware for Bafana. I don't think it's going to be difficult for Hugo Bros to fill in those shoes, but he's trying his best. He's trying a lot of combinations between the players, but if we want to look at the quality again, I think we fall short as Mzansi in terms of quality. If you look at back in the days, we had players who would play in Leeds, the like of
Lucas
Benny
McCarthy would want to win the Champions League with Porto.
But right now, yes, we do have players in overseas leagues, but not the top tier clubs. As opposed to Morocco and other African giants like Egypt,
Senegal,
Egypt, Ivory Coast, where you can get the first 11 players
all coming from Europe.
All coming from Europe. You see, so that's one thing that we need to focus on in terms of improving the football quality of Bafana.
Mr. E, we need to talk about the 23-man squad. Obviously, it was named and shamed, and everyone was excited about this one. But this was named around the 11th to the 18th of June.
Yes.
And these guys, obviously, is a big, long list. I mean, Ronan Williams, after the season, he just had a record-breaking season, by the way, with Mamelodi Sundowns. He deserves his place. We can't even argue about they made the first choice goalkeeper who's going to be. I mean, he broke a record that was held by Monique Josephs all the way from the time when Monique Josephs was winning a treble. You know what I mean? When they went on to win the treble with Lucky Mufati, I actually saw videos of Lucky lifting the trophy from TikTok. So I downloaded those videos. I sent it to him. He's like, we made memories. Very interesting times. And Veli Mota, also one goalkeeper we cannot overlook in South African football. But let's talk about where South Africa feel like has always lagged, and that's in the middle of the park.
Yes.
Talk to me about those midfielders. Are you proud of the list they've provided here?
Yeah, I think this is the best that we can do. I mean, like having the likes of the export Unjabulo Blom. Then we've got Teboho Mokoena from Mamelodi Sundowns. He comes in with his experience on the African continent.
And also, by the way, Teboho Mokoena now the third most expensive South African player at this moment in time,
yes.
according to Transfer Market. That's behind Peter Shalulile, by the way.
Yeah. But remember, Peter Shalulile is also, I mean, like big clubs across the continent rather are looking at him, so they might buy him at any time. That can increase his market value at any given time. Yeah, but now the problem that we have with our midfielders is especially coming into this game whereby we're facing a highly paced Moroccan team. Are they going to be able to fare with the fast and pacey strikers, rather midfielders of Morocco? I'm not too sure. I'm not convinced about the likes of Ubatusi Obas, from TS Galaxy, and also Luke Leroux. He hasn't made his mark. He hasn't been impressive at all. But we wait to see. But I think the problem that we're going to have coming into this game is in defense, where we've got the likes of Innocent Maela. Not to say there's anything wrong with him, but I think the defense that we have is a little bit too slow for the likes of.
But these are Hugo Bross's players. I mean, Gokran Kekana, Obri Mudiba, Tapelo Morena. Those are his players. I mean, I know they're Sundowns players. Everyone say no. They're first Sundowns players. But these are the players he's been trusting with his squad. I mean, It's been a matter of trust. I think one thing I can give Hugo Bros is consistency in terms of his squad selection.
That's one. That's a big tick for him. And there's been consistency. So he's also tried to build. I mean, the likes of Innocent Maela, his game is upped his game a little bit. Also you have got. I think there's like 4 players or defenders from Sundowns. So you've got experience playing on the African continent, especially teams from Morocco. So we wait to see how his tactics he's gonna apply his tactics when they play against the fast-paced Morocco. You see, the speed is my problem. The Moroccan guys. So if it's a game whereby the likes of Okren Ketekana will be on their toes the whole 90 minutes.
Right, let's talk about the strikers before we let it go. Obviously, people are used to us just having a 5-minute chat about one fixture, but you got to understand, this is our national team. It's personal right now. We need to talk about this thing for a second. But, of course, we get down to the forward pack. I mean, I know Mr. E follows a lot of the DSTV Premiership, and you've been watching this for many years. And not only that, you work with this on a daily basis. So you're the perfect person to talk to about this. Talking about these forwards, Munapele Seleng obviously was going to be a selection after the season he just had. Themba Zwane goes without question. You can never put together a South African squad without Themba. I think if Hugo Bros ever did that, they would oust him. South Africa would just come and burn the stadium and say, Asamfun Magavai. But the likes of Zakele Lepasa, I do have a few questions about that. What do you think was the thinking behind the selection for Zakel?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not too sure. I was surprised when it was announced. But you see, remember this is the initial squad of 23. I don't know if he's going to be able to make the final 11. But he was very good when he was still playing at TS Galaxy before going to Orlando Pirates.
The Bulls.
Yes, right now, Matambe Spogo maybe, but he's found his mark. I mean, like he's found his form again under Kevin Hunt, Super Sport. So maybe there's something that is his. And remember, with a game of football, there's also tactics involved. Maybe the tactics of Hugo Bros requires somebody who plays like Lilipasa for that specific.
And he can bring the best out of it.
Yes, and he can bring the best out of it. So we wait to see how he's going to pan out, because I know Zakele Lipasa almost plays like Pesitao. So let's see how he's going to set up his shop in with his forwards.
You know what we'll do? We'll also leave a link to the squad below, so if you can go check it out yourself. But this is all our thoughts around the Bafana squad that's tasked with going to face Morocco. Mr. E, before we call it a day, I just want to know, what are your thoughts in terms of the result in this game? Do you think it will go Bafana's way, or do you think Morocco will do what Morocco does best and win this game?
I think the Atlas Lions will take this one here. But at the same time, I think Hugo Bros Cross has to work very hard to make sure that he repositions Bafana as one of the powerhouses of African football. I mean, since the Bafana picked up that silverware, it's been elusive over the years. Elusive. And right now, I think it's high time Bafana rises.
Before we wrap it up, I just want to put you in a tough space right now.
Yeah.
It's a tough space.
Yeah.
They say if you do something once, it's luck. If you do it more than once, it's skill.
Yeah.
Was Bafana lucky in '96?
Okay. In '96, when the difference between the '96 class and the current class is that the '96 class had a lot of quality in it. Right now, the quality that we have is questionable. Yes, this is what based on the guys who are playing in the DSTV Premiership, which is a lot of them. Yes. This is what we have to work with. This is what Hugo Bross has to work with. But tell me something. I mean, imagine if the DSTV Premiership had like 4 or 5 teams that are of the quality of Mamelodi Sundowns, how would that affect the Bafana squad?
It will affect it very
positively.
Very much,
it's going to be one of the biggest. So that's the problem. That's where we need to start.
All right, Mr. E says we need to start with fixing the top 4. I think in South Africa we have a top 4. I think it's Super Sports, Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns. You will correct me, Solos fans and Cosmos fans. But we'll get into that one a little bit later. Just stay tuned as we continue the conversation about what's happening in international football. Hello and welcome back to the show. Obviously, we're talking all things international football. We just spoke about what was going on in South African football against Morocco. That's taking place here in our own backyards. And somebody has tickets, but he has not given me some, so it's fine. You know, we're friends. We're friends off camera.
How did you know that Safa gave me a few tickets?
Mr. E, don't spread the word. People will start calling in and also wanting tickets.
Okay.
We don't have tickets. Let's talk about it. We're moving on to Zambia versus Ivory Coast. Obviously, a very historic match in terms of the players that have been participating for both these teams. Many will talk about the Torre brothers. Many will talk about Didier Drogba, Kalou.
Kalu.
You see?
On the Zambian side.
Yeah, Chipolo Polo. Everyone will remember Chipolo Polo for their triumph on the continent as well. It was a very interesting one. I remember that a striker that was playing in the DSTV Premiership. I forget his name. It was the PSL at the time.
Okay, from Zambia.
Yeah.
Chris Katongo.
It wasn't Chris Katongo. We'll remember. We'll come back to it.
His name is going to come up.
But Chipolo Polo are going to be facing Ivory Coast, and Mr. E, obviously me and you have the task of discussing this one.
Yeah.
The group, we don't need to talk about that. It's over.
Yeah.
They're heading down.
Just like that.
They're heading down.
Yeah.
So talk to me.
Yeah, well, Ivory Coast being the host of the AFCON next year, they've already qualified, but they are playing in this group. Maybe as just to practice and see how it's a training affair. Yeah, and they're coming across a Zambian team they still haven't matched the Zambian team that last won the AFCON. I mean, like they've been playing and they've lost some of the games that they were supposed to win. I mean, like they were the southern powerhouse, in football.
So especially because when you look at African football at times, you tend to think that African football is more talented to the top of the continent.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at continental competition, when you look at the recent World Cup where Morocco did very well.
Yeah.
And we look at qualifiers as well. I mean, you most often times you find your northern teams, your Moroccos, your Algerians, your Egyptians, your Nigerians, your Cameroons, your Tunisians.
Yeah.
It's seldom, the SADC teams. I mean, your South Africa, your Lesotho's, your Swaziland's, your Zimbabwe's, your Namibia's, your Zambia's.
Yeah, but one thing that you must remember is that for the teams like Egypt, they've been playing in these competitions for I don't know for how long, for a very long time. They've managed to perfect their craft in terms of football. And by the way, Egypt is the team that has won the AFCON record. Is it 11 times?
No, that's the CAF Champions League.
Egypt, not Al Ahly.
Yeah, Egypt as well. Yeah.
I think Egypt has won the most in terms of that tournament.
But you see, it's what you're saying about the continent and the clubs. I mean, if you look at Al Ahly and how good they've been doing,
Yes.
I mean, when you the season when you think Al Ahly are not doing so well,
Yeah.
Zamalek is killing it.
Yes,
So it's
you know.
usually Zamalek or Al Ahly or
Yes.
Pyramids
Look
or
at-
Ceramica Cleopatra.
Yeah,
You know, those teams always rise to the cream of the crop.
Yeah, they do. Look at Morocco, the semi-finalists. If you look at
Wydad Casablanca, Raja Casablanca.
it went as far as the finals of the Champions League. So it does the performance of the national team does
Is affected by the club.
Yeah, it's affected by the positive performance of the club. Hence, I was saying with Bafana, maybe we need to start with the DSTV. Let's see what is happening. Where do we get the talent from? Maybe we need to go to as far as Kanana and Hammanskraal to look at those small boys, the 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds playing in the street. Maybe we can groom them, put them in what do you call this in development structure so that we can groom them so that they can be better players. I mean,
Mr. A, it's interesting that you say that because with Zambia and Ivory Coast, we have two teams that represent the opposite of what we just spoke about.
Yes.
Because teams from Ivory Coast and teams from Zambia never could dominate on the continent in terms of club football.
Yes.
But what they do is that they have players that dominate world football in other countries.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, Ivory Coast, their players dominated in Europe.
Yes.
I mean, with Zambia, some of the players dominated here in the DStv Premiership and everywhere else.
We've got Patrick Daka. Is it Patson Daka?
Yeah, Patson Daka.
Playing in Leicester. Yeah. And we also have the likes of or Wilfred Zaha playing in the top leagues. I mean, that shows how serious the FA is about football. Man.
But it shows the difference between like the two contrast of football.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody actually ever talks about Brazilian football clubs.
No. Yeah.
But you talk about Brazilian players.
Yes.
And that's the same thing about Ivory Coast. No one ever talks about the Ivorian teams.
I don't even know one team from Ivory Coast.
But you
I only come across it when I look at the fixtures and so on. But I don't know much about them. But I know a lot about the actual players who've gone on to dominate the football at world stage.
Yeah. So let's get this to our verdict, Mr. E. Which team are you going with between the two? Is it going to be Zambia or Ivory Coast?
I'm gonna give I'll give it to Zambia. They've got a chance to do it. I mean, Ivory Coast, they've got nothing to lose, but Zambia definitely needs to qualify. So Zambia is gonna come out guns blazing because I think there's a difference of at 1 point. Yeah, definitely. So it's gonna be Zambia taking this one. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next match. Obviously, we just gave you the prediction for this one. Stay tuned. You're watching Betfred on YouTube. Welcome back to the Diski preview show. Obviously, we're talking all things football. We're talking all things international football. We started off in Africa, continued in Africa, and now we're moving on to European football. Obviously, at this point, we're talking all things international football. So France versus Greece is our next big topic. In the group, Mr. E.
Yeah.
Netherlands 3 points, Greece 3 points, France 6 points.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a perfect start so far for France. I mean, Didier Deschamps is Deschamps, ne? French is French.
Didier
Deschamps. He's spoiled for quality. I mean, like, he's got the likes of Kamavinga, he's got Dembele, he's got Mbappe, Mendy. I mean, the list is endless. Since they've got a perfect start, I think they've been playing very well. I think France possesses some of the biggest players on the planet. I mean, big guys.
I need to ask you this question because a lot of people, whenever we discuss France, the bigger question is, no, they have too many African players.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Are you one of those people that subscribes that they have too many African players? Those players must come play back at home.
No. Not necessarily. Remember, they've got it's players that have got African roots.
Yes.
Yeah, not that they've got African players. Yes, it could be the skin, but they've got African roots. But they've been raised and shaped and sharpened in France. So it's France that stands to benefit. I mean, the likes of Mbappe, he started playing when he was young in France, not in his native Cameroon. You see, so he's actually French.
Yeah, so it's actually French. I mean, looking at the squad, I mean, you were talking about the quality of players.
Yeah.
You look at every position, and you look at every sector of the ground.
Yeah.
Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, Antoine Griezmann, Nkunku, Olivier Giroud. I mean, Marcus Thuram, Eduardo Camavinga, Aurelien Tchouameni, Kingsley Coman, Adrien
You're going to ask yourself the question: Why were they not able to
win the previous World Cup?
Yeah, the previous World Cup. Or maybe it was TDS tactics that were not spot on the day.
I mean, when
or it was the magician who was doing his things in the middle of the park. That's Messi.
I mean, you have to think about the previous World Cups. And when I say that, I mean that with the utmost respect to the tournament itself.
Yeah.
If you look at the previous World Cup finals, I mean, you look at 2010.
Yeah.
It took a goal from Iniesta to win it. One goal.
Yeah, just one.
One goal. Bear in mind in that same game, Ian Robben had 2 chances, one-on-one with Casillas, and he missed both.
And he missed both of them, yeah.
You go to the next World Cup where Germany faced Argentina, and it took yet another one goal.
One solitary goal, yeah.
Bearing in mind that Germany in the previous game,
Yeah.
they knocked Brazil out in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
Then you go to the 2018 World Cup,
Yes.
where France met, I believe, England in the final.
Yeah, it was England. Yeah,
They met England in the final.
Yeah.
And again, it was not the most high-scoring game on the planet.
Imagine, yeah.
Then you go to 2022,
yeah.
and you find that there was, I think Mbappe had a hat trick.
He had a hat trick. He had a hat trick in the game. Yeah,
So
he had a hat trick.
you look at the quality of the players on the pitch. That was basically 2 teams with the best quality in the world.
Yeah.
First of all,
Yeah.
2 teams with attacking players that were not shy to go for it.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Understand?
Definitely.
Hyperactive in attack. I mean, you have Messi on the one side, you have Kylian Mbappe on the other side, you have Antoine Griezmann on this side, you have Di Maria on this side.
Yeah, you've got those were the type of players whereby they say, "Mabi shy, not say shy."
Yeah.
It ends there. We would rather lose 9-8. Yeah, we would rather lose 9-8. Yeah, it goes on to show the quality that was on display on that fateful night, man.
I think it's a fair result.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at that 3-3 in the World Cup final, and you look at it go to penalties, and you think to yourself,
but
when are we going to see a final like that again?
If I may to ask you, was it 3-3 or 3 Mbappe?
It was 3 Mbappe.
Yeah, definitely.
But look, I think as far as World Cup finals have gone, we're going to spend a long time sitting. I think one day, you see how they look at 2005.
Yeah.
If you think about 2005, you think about this World Cup final. They had share one thing in common.
Yeah.
The final 90-minute result.
Yeah.
Which was both 3-3.
3-3. Yeah.
Extra time, then they went to penalties.
Yeah.
We look at that match in 2005 as the beacon of UEFA Champions League football.
Yeah.
Whenever the UEFA Champions League football has to sell a final, like they had to do now with Inter and Manchester City, they took us to 2005 and said, look at how great that final was.
Yeah.
If you think about every final since then, there have never been spectacular finals in the UEFA Champions League. After 2005, you think about it, every season after that was the Messi show against Manchester United in Wembley. I mean, you look at all the finals and none of them can live up to that hype. We'll look at this World Cup now because obviously it's still fresh in people's memories. And we don't appreciate it yet. But give us 2 more World Cup finals, and I think we'll come back and say that was the best World Cup final we've ever seen.
I think I saw a very a team stubborn France because most of the time it was Argentina leading and France had to come from behind, and most of the time they were using Mbappe to come from. I mean, the tactics on that day of the coaches spot on from Argentina, from France's as well. But for you to have 6 goals within a 90-minute period, I think that was spectacular. I think it's going to leave an indelible mark on the football world.
I think also just for the fairness of this conversation, I want us to look at the defenders that played in that game. I mean, from both sides. And you need to ask yourself that if it was any other match with those very same line black fours, I mean, in this World Cup, I mean, people thought Ronaldo with Portugal would do something spectacular. But you had a back four that started the game of Jules Koundé, who's at Barcelona. Rafael Varane was at Manchester United at the time. Opa Meccano. And you had Theo Hernandez. That was the back four of France. On the other side, you look at Christian Romero. Do you understand that kind of experience that's behind Christian Romero? You look at Nicolas Otamendi. You understand? You look at the experience behind Nicolas Otamendi. Obviously, a lot of people watching this will be saying, I know, but Nicolas Otamendi is not quality. Tagliafico. You understand? Molina. And
quality players.
I mean,
quality defenders.
You look at the midfield. Both these coaches had gone for a young side, a young midfield. You had Tchouameni balanced off by the experience of Rabiot. On the other side, you had Alexis McAllister, Enzo Fernandez, and Rodrigo de Paul in that midfield, putting things together. And the front threes, Julian Alvarez, Lionel Messi, and Angel Di Maria. A balance of experience with a balance of youth.
Of youth as well.
You look at the front four for France, Ousmane Dembele.
Olivier Giroud.
Antoine Griezmann and Kylian Mbappe. I think you look at both these teams. And right now we take it lightly because it was just now recently in 2022. But I'm telling you, once we go to the next World Cup final, and the one after that, the third one, we'll probably have to sit down
and say
and unpack this again
and remember 2022,
and we'll appreciate more as to what these guys were able to do. Because both these teams at the time, don't forget, both these teams at the time had been involved in one of the last two World Cup finals. Because Germany beat Argentina in the 2014 World Cup. And then in the 2018 World Cup, France beat England. So both these two teams had been in the World Cup final just recently. And these players had played in those finals. Except for your like Martinez and a couple of these players. But the point I'm trying to make is that there was experience on the pitch.
And it goes on to show that experience is one thing that you must not run short of in football.
Especially if you want trophies.
If you want trophies, and like for let's just come back home here. There's two teams. Okay, let's make it one. Maritzburg United. By the way, congratulations to Cape Town Spurs.
Cape Town Spurs,
Yes, for being
formerly
promoted.
Ajax Cape Town.
Yes, formerly Ajax Cape Town. Maritzburg United went on to appoint Fadlu David, a person who did not have much experience in terms of coaching. That's coaching experience that we're talking about. Look at what how that has panned out at the end of the day. Maritzburg relegated. You could say I watched the game when they were playing against Cape Town Spurs. They were so solid. I mean, they were playing very well. You would ask yourself at the end of the day, why
are they getting relegated?
What's missing from these guys? You know what was missing?
Experience.
The experience and the tactics of the coach. Because when you're a very good coach, you must be able to say, okay, this is not working, I'm going to try this. This is not working, I'm going to try that. You understand? So experience as a coach is important, as well as a player. If you look at the likes of Christian Romero, very solid at the back. What does he do? He brings experience. He's able to read the game. He's able to tell. I mean, like being a defender, he can read the game in such a way that he can
position himself
quite well, and also he can coach the other guys, the other players surrounding him to say, guys, let's fix A, B, C, D. There's an avenue here that we need to block because they might use it or utilize it. So experience does count at the end of the day.
Well, that's the conversation we just had. Obviously, we have to walk away from it because we got too carried away. France versus Greece will be taking place on Monday. Mr. E, what are your thoughts about this game and what's your prediction?
France is gonna take this one. I mean, Greece, those are minnows, are not known for football. Yeah.
They're known for art.
We only know about the Greek gods and so on. And so on. But for football, no. Yeah, so I'm gonna give this to France. It's gonna be a convincing win, and you can also play it maybe over 2.5. Yeah,
and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right, we leave it there and stay tuned as we finish with our last review. Welcome back to the show. Obviously, at this point, you're wondering how many more games do we have to go through. We only have one more left, and that's going to be Poland versus Germany. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about African football. We've gone into Europe with the game we just discussed. And let's talk about one that's taking place. This is today, and this is Poland versus Germany. Mr. E, let's get your thoughts on this one. It's a big one.
It's a big one, especially for Poland and Lewandowski. Yeah, I think there's going to be a Lewandowski factor there against the Germans. But one thing that the Germans must do now is to try and reclaim their position as one of the biggest teams in Europe. They are right now, but they've been a pale shadow of what they've been doing over the years. I mean, they need to get their eggs together and try and solidify their position as one of the biggest teams in Europe.
Yeah. I mean, one thing about Poland, they've had great talents. When we talk about Poland, obviously you have to think about the Piszczeks of this world. You have to think about the Wojciech Szczesnys of this world, and obviously Robert Lewandowski almost won a Ballon d'Or in 2020, but due to COVID, French football is we don't have the awards.
Until next time.
And you know the funny thing is, we thought Ngala is an African thing.
But we saw is that in Europe it's quite common.
It's quite common.
It's quite common.
But if it's like that, that was very dramatic of you guys. But let's carry on and talk about it. So obviously, it's going to be a game that's going to bring out the best in both these sides. After World Cup, obviously now it's focused on the Continental Trophy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Germany?
Yeah, Germany. As I mentioned earlier on, I think they still need to solidify their places. One of the big teams. I mean, of late we've been speaking about or talking about France and Argentina. I think they must come
Brazil
into the
as
party.
well,
Yeah, and Brazil here and there. But Germany, it used to be a German machine, but it's no longer as well oiled as it used to be back in the day when they won the World Cup and so on. But it's not a changed match. They can come back and become the mighty German machine that we know.
I mean, last time they won the World Cup, Mario Götze was part of that squad. I think one of the players that excites me about the German squad is a player by the name of Nicola Füllkrug.
Yeah,
I like the guy. I just like how he plays. It reminds me of a traditional German striker. I mean, the highest goal scorer in the World Cup for Germany is Miroslav Klose.
Yeah.
So how do you think they'll do with the likes of Füllkrug? Because obviously Timo Werner is good, but it seems that he didn't work out in England, and since he left, he's been great again in Germany.
Yeah.
But Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, it doesn't look like a combination that works up front. But once they have Füllkrug in there, something just happens with Germany lately.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, I think they've got a new coach, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so they've got an opportunity to try all those combinations and see if they can come up with something. And my worry with Germany is the defense of late. I think in the last game they drew 3-3 with Ukraine. Yeah, that's one thing that they need to try and work on. Offensively, they're quite perfect, but at the back they need to try and work out something there. Otherwise, Lewandowski is going to take advantage of that, and it's going to be mayhem for the Germans.
Speaking of their coach, Hansi Flick did coach a team by the name of Hoffenheim in 2000 to 2005. So he was the head coach from 2000 to 2005.
Yes.
And then he went with the German national team,
Yeah.
comes back again. In fact, he was assistant coach at the time.
Yeah.
Comes back again. Now after in Joachim Löw's last season with Germany, he goes and coaches Bayern Munich. It was 2019, by the way, when he got the job.
Yeah.
By 2020, he proved his point.
Yeah.
He won everything.
He won everything.
First
He
season,
took everything. That was available.
Lewandowski almost won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
I mean, this man really shook world football. I think one thing he exposed about international football was that there's favoritism in terms of how they deliver awards.
Yeah.
The season when he went on to win everything was the season when Liverpool went on to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
And they gave Jurgen Klopp the award for Manager of the Year. And then Hansi Flick didn't get it. And Hansi Flick moved on to go to Germany.
Yeah.
So you look at his achievement. I mean, he went to Bayern Munich. He coached for 86 games.
Yeah.
He won 70 of them.
Yeah.
Now you need to understand when I say he
drew
won
8 and lost only 8.
He drew 8 and lost only 8.
I mean, that's something else. that's something else. That's something else, man. I mean, like out of the 86 games, we'd expect maybe him to win maybe 60 or maybe 55 or so. But look at that, 80 games.
And he won 70. But yeah,
you only lost 8 times.
And drew 8 times.
And drew only 8 times.
And they were like, come, let's go.
You only walked back into your dressing room, said only 8 times.
You know what I feel like with Hansi Flick? I know we're deviating, but I feel like what happened was he sat down with Joachim Löw.
Yeah.
And asked Joachim Löw, who's going to replace you as the head coach of Germany? Joachim Löw said, I'd love it for you to be you, but you don't have the record. I mean, before that, he had only coached Hoffenheim for 195 games.
Yeah.
He had won 86.
Yeah.
He had drew 49 and lost 61. So now obviously they're sitting there, they have this conversation. He says to him, I'd love for it to be you, but right now I can't justify why it should be
why
you.
it should be you, because
He
your track record.
He said to him, I'll be right back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. And then he came back as the head coach. But we'll have to see how this goes. But I'm very excited with Hansi Flick. He was appointed in August of 2021. And look, 12 games, 1 out of 22 is not a bad record.
It's not a bad
We're still waiting to see how he's going to go on in terms of the next international tournament he has. Don't forget, it's not like club football where you have these games all the time.
Rolling all the time,
But a game against Poland is a good one because Poland are also no slouches in terms of European football. You can still consider them to be one of the powerhouses. So, Mr. E, what is your prediction for this one?
I'm going to give it to the German machines. German machines. The Germans.
Right. That's how we leave it again for today. Myself and Mr. E will be back again next week Friday after all the work we have to push in the middle of the week. That's good to Tina Saspa.
Nice, Bona.
Tina Saspa.
See you next week.